In this series of battle presentation, today I am back with my fourth battle, and the discussion on today's battle is the battle fought in Golan Heights or Syrian front in Arab-Israel War 1973. So lazy learners, let's start. Syria simultaneously with Egyptian launched its offensive against Israel in Golan Heights front at 1400 hours on 6 October 1973. Though Syria attained some initial success with its superiority of forces, ultimately could not continue the momentum in front of Israeli counterattack. Finally, Syrian was defeated in the Golan Heights front. Golan Heights was occupied by Israel since 1967. It is 65 kilometers from north to south with a maximum width of 30 kilometers. Towards north is Mount Hermon and towards south is Yarmouk Valley. An irregular north-south line, also known as Purple Line, constituted the eastern boundary. Purple Line is the 1967 ceasefire line which became border between Syria and Israel occupied territory. So, the Syrian preparations for offensive. From 1967 to 1973, the Syrians had constructed an elaborate defense system comprising numerous fortifications east of Purple Line. 3 Syrian brigades constantly manned these lines. Second defense line. Further east of Purple Line, another line was built up at Sasa Ridge, midway between Quneitra and Damascus. Some mechanized tank and infantry units were in the second line of defense by September 1973. Syrian offensive plan. The Syrian plan was strongly influenced by Soviet doctrine. The offensive was to commence with a short but intensive use of firepower delivered by artillery, tanks, mortar and air. The overall plan was simultaneous breakthrough by 3 mechanized infantry divisions in the north, center and south towards west in the first echelon of attack. This breakthrough would be exploited by the follow-up armored division in the second echelon of attack. Whole operation would be conducted under cover of anti-air gun, missile, artillery barrage and close air support. And Syria planned to recapture all or most of the Golan Heights by this offensive. Syrian deployment for offensive. The 7 Mechanized Infantry Division was in the north of Quneitra and Damascus Road. 9 Mechanized Infantry Division was in the center opposite of Quneitra. And 5 Mechanized Infantry Division was in the southeast of Rafid and north of Yarmouk Valley. 3 Armored Division was between Katana and Sasa. And 1 Armored Division was in southeast of Sasa. In no case both the armored divisions to be committed. One of them was to be held in reserve in the event of failure or unexpected development. 600 artillery pieces, 400 anti-air guns and more than 100 SAM batteries with 400 to 500 launchers were positioned to support the operation. Israeli defense plan. Thinly held defense in the entire front, mainly with armored units. Electric equipment and radar stations were established to continuously monitor the movement of Syrian force. In case of any Syrian offensive, the reserve was supposed to be launched to reinforce the front, and Israeli superior air force were supposed to do the rest. With this plan, the Israeli deployment was Israeli two infantry brigades thinly deployed with their obstacle system along the Purple Line, Barak armored brigade deployed in between Quneitra and Rafid along the obstacle system. Besides, 11 self-propelled field artillery batteries were also deployed. Now let us know the battle. At 1400 hours on 6 October 1973, the artillery barrage started for next 50 minutes. Syrian columns moved out in a broad front with their leading brigade and crossed the ceasefire line. Anti-tank ditches were filled up at certain places and vehicles could cross. Infantry were moving well ahead with anti-tank or ATGM. Israelis were taken by complete surprise. Syrian attack. 7 Infantry Division at the northern corridor initially bypassed the town of Quneitra and moved towards Tapin. One of the brigade crossed the anti-tank ditches and advanced through an open space which was the Israelis' killing area and lost 60 tanks and fell back to the line of anti-tank ditches. 9 Infantry Division at the center bypassed towards Israeli positions about 10 miles south of Quneitra and swept through the Kudna Gap. 5 infantry divisions at the southern corridor moved through the Rafid Gap and advanced further 10 miles south along the tape line roads towards Juhadar. The Israeli position on Mount Hermon was cleared by two successive heli-borne attacks by 500 Rangers. An attempt to recapture the position by Israeli brigade was repulsed. 7 infantry divisions moved towards the position of Mount Hermon. 2 unsuccessful brigade attacks were launched and the formation was held up before Mount Hermon position. Another brigade pushed towards Masada Road but had to withdraw, being without infantry support. A Moroccan infantry brigade at the foothills of Hermon refused to advance. Other formations like Druze was also non-cooperative. Even a Syrian infantry brigade also refused to advance. All these prevented any further progress on the northern front. Realizing the initial success on the southern corridor, Syrians pushed one armored division through Rafid Gap. By noon, one of its brigades pushed north along the tape line road and reached Nafah base. This base was the Israeli headquarters position. By 1700 hours on 7 October, 5 infantry divisions achieved significant progress. One of its brigade had stopped at 800 yards from El Al and another brigade was on Yehuda Road less than 6 miles from the lake. The advance of Syrian column halted owing to the stressed line of communication. If the Syrians would have not stopped at 1700 hours, they could have reached the rim of escarpment, perhaps even the river Jordan. Israeli counterattack. At night of 7 October, taking the advantage of Syrian halt, Israelis pushed Syrian 5 infantry division and 2 Syrian attacks were successfully beaten back. By October 8, 3 Israeli divisions led by Eitan, Lanner and Paled started operating and achieved moderate success. Israeli Air Force came into action from 9 October and under cover of massive airstrikes, Israeli field formations could successfully push back the Syrians up to the Purple Line. 14th, 19th and 20th Armored Brigade broke through the Syrian defensive positions. On 10 October, under Israeli pressure, Syrians withdraw to Sasaline. On 11 October, Eitan's and Lanner's division were to drive towards northeast. Pellet divisions was to consolidate on Purple Line. Eitan's division on the right would initially make the main effort, but once breakthrough was made, Lanner would exploit. From 11 to 14 October, the Israeli forces pushed into Syria, conquering a further 20 square mile box of territory. From there, they were able to shell the outskirts of Damascus, which was only 40 kilometers away. Combined Syrian, Iraqi and Jordanian counterattacks prevented any further Israeli gains. So this was all about the battle. Now if we want to see the reasons for the failure of the Syrians, there are number of points to discuss, like lack of discipline. On 7 October, after initial success in the Majd al-Shams area, Moroccan Infantry Brigade, Druze Infantry Formation and one Syrian brigade refused to obey orders and did not react to the instructions. This lack of discipline was one of the most drawbacks. The other points, as you can see on the slide, lack of flair for battle in senior rank, the momentum of attack, tank madness, tactical lapses, influence of 1967 defeat and suspicious role of Jordan. Also, if you want to learn the lessons from these battles, there are a number of points as you can see on the slide. If you want to learn more about the failure of the Syrians and the lessons of this battle, you can visit the link www.militarybattles.tk. Now if you want to get Word document of this presentation, you can visit the link which is shown on the screen. Again, if you want to learn more about the other battles, you can visit the third link. The links will be given in the description so that you can easily get those. If you like this video or if you like my channel, please subscribe. And if you want to get more battle presentations, you will always have to subscribe because you cannot get a notification from me. So I think the battle has helped you. Bye bye.